Hi, Christopher Michael here, coming to you on December 15th. Just wanted to share some thoughts and make some connections out here, working with conscious creators and sharing some of the things I've learned along the way. We are 10 days from Christmas. Has me reflecting on what's truly important. What do you want for Christmas this year? Do you have a list of presents and items? Or is it more experiential? I reached a point a few years back where I'm not really concerned about presents. When people ask, I really don't care. I would rather have an experience. Perhaps a meal, a gathering, a handwritten card, or a good conversation. That's all it needs. If I think back on years gone by, it's hard to remember, what did I even get? Everything is fleeting. Accumulating material items soon just becomes normal. What you received a month or two ago is just something you have now. And if we take an honest inventory of our possessions, I think a lot of us will realize much of what we hold on to, we don't use. We have closets. Many people have storage units full of stuff they never look at. I recently let a storage unit go after over 5 years and $10,000 in rental fees of stuff I never went to, I never looked at, and I never used. It was just a waste. I started realizing coming back to basics is important. Clarity, priorities. And as we finish out this 9-year, 2025, when you add them up, 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9, we are in the end of a cycle. So we're actually converging on a number of cycles that are ending, and the launching of the age of Aquarius, which we're technically in, but these energies are intensifying, which means a new, more positive system is going to come. It does not mean it will not be without challenge along the way, and most of how you experience that depends on your ability to manage your internal climate, feeling, energy, nervous system. This year it's become very important to me to focus on the internal as opposed to the external. Exogenous substances, ideas, people never bring fulfillment in the way that we can bring it to ourselves. And while it is a simple thing to do, it's very hard to do. And that sounds counterintuitive. Just because it's a simple idea does not mean it's easy to execute. So think about some of this. I find myself on a regular basis trying to focus on what does my higher or most successful self do, and how do they relate in this situation. So in literal, real time, I find myself finding, here's a situation, and it's easy to go back to a previous, well-established pattern. But as we know, if we do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that's called insanity. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So if you have your eyes set on a different circumstance, you're going to have to behave differently in this world, with this world, and with other people in order to get a different outcome. And this is where grace comes in, because it's not like day one you say, I'm going to be like Tony Robbins. I just need to have a 120-point plan perfectly down, and if I fail, I can never have it. It's more becoming aware of each moment by moment, taking a look at it and making a choice that is better for you. And then realize, as I've mentioned before, part of learning what does work is learning what does not work, or what is not fully working for you. And so with that in mind, as you make that choice, try not to get too hard on yourself or down on yourself. Say, okay, I got this, and here's the outcome. Here's where I'm going. What modifications can I make to that to get closer to where I want to be? Until you really feel like you're in alignment. And the funny thing is, it's not as simple as, here are 5 things to do. It's a checklist. Most people want to get an instant cake mix where you add a little bit of oil, some eggs, and some milk, mix it up and throw it in a pan and bake it, and you're done. Well, anyone can do that. It doesn't require any sort of thought, knowledge, or understanding at all. It's just following directions. And so many people are seeking out external sources to tell them what to do. But I'm different than you and everyone else, and while we have many similarities and we can learn from each other, it's most important to become familiar with ourselves, to understand what works for us, to learn what does, what doesn't, what is the direction I want to go. And just because you want it now, in a month or 3 months or a year, you might want something different. So it's an ongoing process. There's a saying, it says, when we stop living, we start dying. We are creators. We are infinite consciousness in a unique fractal of all that is, experiencing this physical reality we call life on the planet Earth right now. And you could consider it a burden or a blessing, depending on how you look at it. Out of all the times you could be alive in all of history, you're at the burgeoning of an entire new world, the collapse of an old control system, information travel between people freely through this technology you're looking at right now, the ability to grow and connect and make things better. For a long time, myself included, say, I'm waiting for the world to change. Someone will do it, but here's the thing. The only way the world changes is when we take action. We have to be the change. You are not excused, I'm not excused, no one is. And it's important to meet the world with kindness. It doesn't mean being nice all the time either. There's a key distinction between the two. Being kind is having compassionate awareness. And I'd like to draw a point on this. It's very popular right now to say, I do not judge, I make no judgment. But by saying that, you're being disingenuous. The definition of judgment is to consider the information available and consider your opinion on how you relate to it. Now, it sounds virtuous. It sounds like you're being a good person. But language is precise. Everything we say has energy to it. I can come from a place of compassionate awareness where I can understand why someone's where they are, why they did the things they did. We all live in glass houses and shouldn't throw stones. I get that. But on the other side of that, there are actions and groups of people that do not embrace the light, that are doing things that are not okay for our planet, and we need to speak up about them. If you're driving down the street and you see someone kicking their dog and hurting it, or beating their wife or child or something, of course you're going to have an opinion about that. It doesn't mean you can't understand that they came from a broken home, have substance abuse issues, unresolved traumas, or so on, and therefore you hold compassionate awareness towards them. But it doesn't mean you excuse their actions, and it certainly doesn't mean you don't have an opinion on it. To add another layer to it, it also means that you don't dwell on it. You don't hold a negative vibration. You can realize how you feel, you can take an action, and then you can release it. You know, unless you're in law enforcement or the judicial system, most of the time it doesn't have any place for you. So participate in a way to create a positive community, but don't hold on to it because it's not your burden to carry. Experience a situation, use your best judgment of how to deal with that, compassionately aware of that person and how they may have gotten there, but also what is right for the world. What world do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a world where nobody cares about anything, no one judges anyone, there's no wrong anyone can do? Human trafficking, drug trafficking, theft, we don't want that. We want to live in a world where we are comfortable. Well, I can't speak for everyone else. I do, and I think most people just want to live their lives happily and not have those negative situations impacting them. So it's important in this time to start figuring out, as we come into 2026 in this new year, what are the ideas that I really want to focus on? Who do I want to be? And this brings up another idea that, interesting, that happened at 11/11. Who do I want to be? I wrote a list the other day of all the attributes and things I want to accomplish for myself, but I think it's also important we start coming up with intentions for what we want for the world around us as well. Start putting out conscious ideas about the world that we want to live in, come together. The time is coming where we need to start putting down all these divisive categories. It matters not what political group you support, what your gender, your ethnicity, your financial situation, where you live, or any of that is. It's about meeting other people with kindness, appreciating the diversity in this world, while celebrating your own. No one is better than the other, or worse for that. There are great people of all walks of life, and there are people of all walks of life that also choose the darker path. And it's a matter of finding middle ground. I kind of think about it, we're on a path and we're moving forward, and most people think it's a straight line, but it's more of a moving through the situation in and out. And how do you know when you're getting too far out of bounds? You want to try to remain center, and sometimes you're going to spend a little more time here and a little more time here. But start paying attention, because you will get signs when you're getting too far out of bounds. It's like, oh, here's a sign. Careful, careful. Oh, beep, 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 beep. And then whack, whack, whack. And if you start veering too far off to the side, out of bounds, the universe has a funny way of reminding you that you're there and will bring you back to center. Usually less pleasantly than if you pay attention when you start seeing the signs at the beginning. So it's important at all times. Look around. So many people believe in coincidence. Oh, this happened or that happened, there's no meaning to it. But in fact, it all has meaning, and the more you look for it, the more meaning you're going to find. Synchronicities now that I look for are so pervasive. There is no day that goes by that I do not see dozens of them. From numbers to words to experiences. And now it's wild. I even start talking about an idea, and within a day I'll see it on TV or some computer screen or a book or something in public. And even family members I've shared this with are starting to have the same thing. And now it's like to the point where we just laugh. It happens so much, it's everywhere. A coincidence is you went to the grocery store down the block from your house and you ran into your neighbor. Well, of course you did. You happen to live next to each other and you both need to eat food. But coincidences of very specific numbers or very specific situations, not so much. I'll give you an example. Just last week, I was talking to a family member and I said, oh, there's this actress, Isla Fisher, and she was in the movie Wedding Crashers. It was like 20 years ago. I said, oh, I never heard of that actress. I said, well, if you saw her, you probably recognize her. And within 24 hours, a news program popped on with an interview with Isla Fisher talking about her time acting in Wedding Crashers. I mean, how random is that 20 years later for that to be on TV in 2025? So I encourage you to be open, stop dismissing everything. One of my techniques is, I call it the pinboard effect. When ideas come into my field, I don't always understand them. And you got to understand too that time is not necessarily linear, so a message may refer to the past, the present, or maybe something to come. So when I don't understand something, I'm like, interesting idea. I put a pinboard, like you put a note at work on the pinboard, and I just let it sit. And over time, you might start noticing patterns where this, they line up. Oh, now you're just using pattern recognition. Makes it a little bit better to understand things, and the more you're open to it, the more you ask for it. I would suggest whoever your higher power is, God, angels, spirit team, whatever you might call it, team in light, say, hey, here's a situation I'm thinking about. Send me a sign, something concrete and solid that I can understand. And you can even tell them what it is. Okay, I like it when I see 111 on the clock, or 1111, 1212, 1 2 3 4. I like it when I see a blue jay outside, or when a raccoon runs by, or I like it when I see a red pickup truck, or a song comes on the radio. And put it out there. And a lot of times too, people like to journal or write it down. Sometimes there's also the thought, putting it into the physical. By writing it down, you help materialize it. But start testing it. And don't give up day one. Just do it consistently, day after day. And after a couple of months, everyone I've ever talked to start noticing major patterns. So I'm going to close this up before we get too far beyond this. So think about this. We're on the 15th. December 19th, we have 3i Atlas coming at perihelion with Earth, meaning it's at the closest position. It's gone from red to green, and now it just turned gold, which is interesting from a chakra perspective. We have root, heart, and then gold typically represents Christ consciousness or accelerated consciousness. So with that coming in, we're 4 days away from that. We have a new moon on the 20th, and then we have the winter solstice on Sunday the 21st from California anyways, depending what time zone you're in. So we have a whole convergence of this, and this 21st is also the ascension portal. People that are focusing on that, raising their consciousness, growing and accelerating. Many of us have been meditating and focusing on this idea and this convergence of all these energies, particularly over this year, but especially since this summer, come into convergence and will solidify. And those of us that are focused on our higher energies, our ascension path, are going to be way showers, where we're going to teach the people that are open to it in waves, and over time they're going to see us living this way and finding happier ways to live and get along. And even though the chaos externally is happening, we're living in peace and harmony within ourselves and still creating fantastic lives. And so that's a challenge for whatever way you relate to this, of contributing to the new world in this new year. What is your 2026 resolution? Who do you want to be? What do you want to see in this world? And be that change. And I'll close with this. It is really important right now to focus on making sure you're getting plenty of fluids, your vitamins and minerals, and meditating and grounding with all this energy, sunspots, planetary alignment. We're about to have one where 5 or 6 planets are straight across in the line with the sun in the center. We have all kinds of energy going on, and whether you're aware of it or not, there are electromagnetic waves completely bombarding us. So I wish you all well. I send lots of love and light. And please, let me know if you have any questions or thoughts in the comments below.